Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city forged in steel and resilience. For over a century, Pittsburgh has built its legacy on hard work and grit. From the days when smokestacks rose high above the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio rivers, this city has stood strong through the ebbs and flows of industrial fortune. As the mills went quiet, Pittsburgh transformed itself into a city of technology, education, and healthcare. But something else endured: its love for sports. Pittsburgh isn't just a city, it's a community, and at its heart beats a passion for its teams. Here, sports aren't just a pastime, they're a lifetime. Football is more than just a game for Pittsburgh, it's a tradition, passed down from generation to generation. The Pittsburgh Steelers bring people together, uniting families, neighborhoods, and strangers under one banner. Black and gold flow through the veins of Pittsburghers, and nowhere is this passion more visible than among the fans who have taken it to a whole new level. In this series, we dive into the lives of Pittsburgh's most dedicated superfans. From tailgates to watch parties, we follow mascot Troy, Steeler Jesus, Pope Yinzer, the Terrible Brawl, Steel Cowboy, and Steelman as they bring the heart of Pittsburgh to life. Join us as we explore what drives these fans to go above and beyond, to make Pittsburgh pride not just something that you feel, but something that you live. This is their story. This is Pittsburgh's story. This is Superfan Nation, Pittsburgh.
Hi, my name's Don Zadak. Jefferson Hills, PA. Most people know me better as Pope Yinzer here in Pittsburgh, and a lot farther than that even. Grew up right here in Jefferson Hills. This is the only house I've ever lived in right here. My whole life, born and raised here, and still living here after all these years.
Hi, my name is Mary Grace Schwallenstocker, but most people don't know me by that. They know me by Guy Schwallenstocker. And I have been the Terrible Bra for 38 years. I grew up in Shaler Township, so I'm a Pittsburgh girl forever. Then I moved out a little further here. I'm in West Deer right now.
Hey, I'm Mike Dapsevich. You might know me as Mascot Troy.
I was actually born in Juneau, Alaska, and then moved to Pittsburgh when I was in grammar school.
You know, like every other family here in Pittsburgh, you're born bleeding black and gold. You know, it just, football's in your blood from the time you're young and growing up here, especially nowadays with the terrible towels. You know, all the babies have the terrible towels on them. But growing up in the 60s, the Steelers weren't so good. We were still fans. We were still fans back then, as bad as they were. Then once we hit the 70s, they started doing good. There's no turning back.
I became a Steeler fan back in their heyday, which was in the 70s. And I don't recall. I probably, when they got on their first Super Bowl train, and followed them since then. No, I can't say that they were any of my family. I'm the only one that's like a crazy Steeler person. Nobody else is.
I have my dad, 90 years old, living up in Conneaut Lake, and still runs around like a young kid up there, boy, I'll tell you. My mom passed away 3 years ago here, and he's kind of lonely up there, but he hasn't missed a beat yet, so God bless him. He diehard Steelers fan, still is. Pirates, He and I were at the Steeler game in 1969 when they played Detroit. It was Chuck Noll's first game of the year up at Pitt Stadium up there when they played. Steelers won 16-13. That was Chuck Noll's first game of his career, and they never won a game the rest of the year. And I still have the ticket stub downstairs somewhere from that game.
My favorite Pittsburgh sports moment kind of be a tie between my first Bucks game that I remember and my first Steeler game I remember. Apparently I went to them before I was 9 years old, but my vivid memories are all from 1969.
I have so many fun memories, so many seeing great plays. I guess my favorite Steeler memory is how I got to go to the Super Bowl in Detroit. There was my son and I, youngest son and I went up since it was so close, and we went with some other people, stayed at friend's house, had no tickets. carried a sign, "We need tickets," had my big sign, "We believe," and we were at this Irish bar. I bought all the guys a drink, tradition like Pittsburgh people do. You buy them a drink, and we had a great time. I was dancing with the one little one. Of course, I had my bra on, and he was short, and I called him my little leprechaun. And next thing you know, one of the gentlemen comes over and talks to my son, and Tim comes over to me and he says, "Give me your money." I said, "Okay." So I give him my money. The guy says, "How much, I have 2 tickets, I'll sell you." So he says, "Mom has 600, I have 650. He says, "Give it to me." So Tim gives him the money. He hands him $50 back and says, "This is beer money." And we got 2 tickets. It was amazing. It was, talk about an amazing time. I think that was my favorite Steeler memory ever.
What I think about my wife and I, she's gone down for quite a few games with me. The best one I can remember with her, we were down there, we were playing Miami, and it was snowing so hard, you couldn't see from me to you away, and she got a hot sausage sandwich. Uncle Charlie's used to sell hot sausages down there. They cook them right there. And she got a hot sausage sandwich, and she was eating it, and it was snowing so hard, there's actually snow on the damn sandwich, and she's sitting there trying to eat it. And that's when, I forget who it was, punted the ball, and it went up in the air, and it stuck right in the mud. Do you remember that there? Yeah, the ball stuck right in the mud. Those are one of the memories there. I mean, just her going with me alone is worth it, but it makes for a long day for her, and God bless her. I wish she'd go down every Sunday with me, but I go by myself now, and I hook up with the guys, and she's probably happier that way there. She doesn't have to go and listen to us.
Well, when I was a little kid, my favorite player was Joe Namath. And then when we drafted Joe Green in '69, a flick switched on in the city. He was a guy who didn't accept losing, and he played like he didn't accept losing. The guy literally was carried out on his shield after every game, and I think he really encapsulated what a Pittsburgh Steeler is. And in Super Bowl X, Cliff Harris patted Roy Jarrell on the head after he missed a field goal, and Jack Lambert body slammed him down to the ground. And in that instant, Jack Lambert became my favorite player. No disrespect to Joe, but it was what I was feeling in that moment, and Jack Lambert actually did it for me. And then, needless to say, when Troy was drafted, he became my favorite player.
Do I have a favorite Steeler player? Wow, that's tough. Probably right now, Watt. He's such an amazing man to watch, and he gives it his all, and he makes things happen. Years ago, Franco Harris, you can't deny him. The bus was an amazing guy. I read a book about him once that said he could hardly get out of bed on Monday, and I believe that. He really took a beating. Last year, I made these for little Christmas presents to hang on your tree. This was my Franco Harris to him, and that was such a sad, sad day because he passed a couple days before, and everybody was so excited for the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, but it was still good. So everybody really enjoyed. Not everybody got one, but I made a ton of them, and then I'd pass them out to some of the other tailgates I go visit, and so just a good time.
Really didn't start tailgating until I got into the Santa Claus and the Pope outfit. Here's when the tailgating fun really started there, started meeting all these people that I know, and, it grew from there. 20 plus years ago, we've been doing this here. 20 plus years we've been doing this. I would have to say this started. We were in a Halloween store. I used to dress as Santa Claus. I have a black and gold Steeler Santa Claus, and my wife has a black and gold Steeler Santa Claus, So we did that for pep rallies. Used to go down for pep rallies all the time and had a ton of fun as Mr. and Mrs. Santa and black and gold, ton of fun. And I said, I need something to do year round, that was fun at Christmas time, but man, there's more than December of football. So we were going through one of these Halloween stores around this time of year, like Halloween there. And there was a little kid's Pope outfit on the wall. Now, my wife made our Steeler Santa Claus outfits, and she's real good at making anything. So I asked her, I said, "Hey, honey," I says, "you think you can whip up a Steelers Pope outfit?" And she says, yeah, we could give it a shot. So we I don't know if it was that day or a day or two later, we went to Joann Fabrics, and just started piecing everything together, figuring out what we needed. And I mean, it took most of the summertime to get it together. The hat, the miter was the toughest part. But she made the whole thing and put it all together. And 20 years later, man, you see where it's gotten me.
The terrible bra didn't come about until it was a playoff game. And I believe it was Buffalo when I first wore it. But when I first got the terrible bra, I had a Myron Cope stand-up cardboard from Iron City. And my friend told me that Myron Cope on his radio show had mentioned something about terrible lingerie. So I thought, oh, that's fun. I'm going to go out and get a giant yellow bra, which is what I did. Super Bowl 30 was my first time I wore it out. And it was yellow, big, stuffed, bright yellow, black lace, nothing real fancy on it. It said the terrible bra. And I wore that for quite a few years, and it would get filthy dirty. People would touch, and it just gets dirty. So I wash it. Well, I got Myron Cope to sign it one time when I was down at Bob's Garage for one of their Christmas parties. He and Bill Hillgrove were sitting there, and I put my bra on and came up and asked him to sign it. So he signed it, and I couldn't wash it again, so I had to get a new one. So this is my new one, minus one tassel, which I have to sew on. We had trouble last week with my tassels, spinning them too much, I guess. And I need to put new lights on for night games. My lights didn't work that great, so I've got some work to do before I can, this Sunday's game, before I can wear this again.
I always knew that one day I wanted to do something in the line of the San Diego Chicken. But for the Steelers, I didn't know how or what. And the Monday after we drafted Troy, I went to work and everyone pointed at me and yelled, Troy, you're the guy from USC. Back then, no one knew his last name. And it just turned into a Halloween costume that went next level. I started dressing up as mascot Troy in 2006. My mother passed away in 2005, and the last lucid conversation we had, she asked me if there's anything I wanted to do, really, really wanted to do, but I was worried about what people might say or what it might cost. And she told me, don't worry about it, do it now. If you can't do it now, prepare to do it now so that one day you'll be ready to do it. Because she went off the Dilaudid, the morphine and the fentanyl patches. She went off all that for like 48 hours so we could have one last conversation. And that was the conversation. Don't care what it costs. Don't care what people think. Don't care about how it might impact your job. I mean, don't care. Just do it. And like I said, it's just all fell into place. Everyone loved my mother. And when she passed, people talked about how much she gave. And people talked and said she never had a bad word to say about anyone. After her funeral, I looked in the mirror and realized I had to change my ways. I want to be remembered like that. Pretty much everything I do is to gain my mother's approval. Because I know she's with God. And she's like, see, he's trying, he's much better than he ever was. I've only met Troy 3 times. Once was at his Hall of Fame enshrinement. And I met him at an autograph show where I had to be introduced because I wasn't in character. I was just the way I am today. And then another time at an autograph show, the exact same situation where he didn't recognize me at first. And I said, "You don't recognize me, Troy?" And then he jumped right up and we had a nice 2-minute conversation. He was in the middle of signing autographs, so we couldn't last much longer than that. After Troy's Hall of Fame enshrinement, things changed for me really quickly as far as visibility goes. It felt like the whole city knew who I was after that night in Canton. And I started just getting offers all over the place. Steeler Jesus, who's my best friend, has his own charity, Special Olympics. When I went to that on his behalf, suddenly my phone started ringing off the hook with Special Olympics, Best Buddies International, Partners for Life, or Partners for Quality. These are all organizations that benefit the handicapped and the people a little less fortunate than us.
Oh, it started out as fun, and it's still fun. It's still a lot of fun. Every year it grows. Every year brings something new, It's a different adventure every year, whether it be with the team or the fans, like making videos like this here, documentaries, something new comes up every year. And stuff like that's what keeps me going year after year, It's as long as the good Lord gives me the good health and everything, I don't see this ending anytime soon.
I plan on tailgating as long as I can, and I plan on going to the games as long as I can. I do tell people when they ask me where I sit with Art Rooney Sr. and Dan Rooney. And people look at me and go, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, they're dead and they're in heaven. And that's where I sit, 9 rows from the top, heaven. As long as I can walk up my 64 steps to get to my seats, I'm going."
Well, the Steelers are on prime time quite a bit, and they scan the crowds and they show super fans. So before I was ever mascot Troy, I saw Pope Yinzer, I saw Steeler Jesus, the Terrible Bra. And I turned to my ex-wife and I would say, when we get back to Pittsburgh, I'm going to meet those guys and they're going to be my friends. And she looked back and said, "Yeah, right. Well, they're my friends." They're a huge inspiration on me. And I think the 4 of us are a big inspiration on all the new super fans that have come in.
I have many super friends. Steelman was probably the first guy I met and became really close friends with him. And he's a super guy. He'll do anything for you. And then the Pope. You see them, they walk around the parking lots. And of course, I get my pictures with them. And then there's Troy Polamalu. Mike's a great guy too. I helped him out down at Mike's Beer Tavern with Christmas time, collecting money and getting stuff for kids. And then we have Jesus, Pittsburgh Jesus. Sean's a great guy. He loves playing Jesus. He loves giving blessings. Pittsburgh Steely, and they made me this T-shirt, undefeated in the lot. And I thought that's a great T-shirt. And he and Sarah, Garrett and Sarah gave this to me. I also almost forgot, and he's only been with me a few years, but I met him before, and that's Pittsburgh Cowboy. He comes in from New Jersey, and he's tons of fun. Great time, always up for anything we're up for. All these other super mascots travel around and visit other tailgates and go up to A&E, and the Pope gives his blessing before each game, and it's just a really fun time and group. So yeah, I'm pretty blessed to have all these guys. They're all really super, will show up for you for anything if they can, and we try to get together and get out now and then ourselves.
Oh man, those guys are crazy there. Steelman would probably be the first one I really hooked up with there. He and I have been doing things for 15 years. Gee, the Terrible Brawl lady, I ran into her a couple times down there, and then just little by little, started to be good friends with her. Sean, Steeler Jesus. I mean, how can you not like that crazy guy there? He's been a lot of fun hanging around with him. We do so much together. Steel Cowboy, you know, he's kind of new to the scene. It's Garrett, Pittsburgh Steelers. He's kind of new on the scene. But we've had a ton of fun doing all this stuff. I hope it never ends. Good Lord, let us keep doing it, you know. Good fun, good people.
The Pittsburgh Steelers was recently voted as the #1 tailgate city in the league by NFL fans. We already knew that, but it was nice to be validated by the rest of the league.
Just the crazy people I meet, you know. I mean, lots and lots of crazy, wild people. There was a woman down there, this is going back 15 years. There's a woman, I see her every Sunday down there. Man, this lady, she put enough lipstick on for 3 people. I think she put it on with a putty knife. She'd come up and give me a big smooch every Sunday, and I had these big red lipstick lips on my cheek. Oh man, I needed steel wool to get it off of there. But that went on for a whole year there. I think maybe even 2 years. I see that lady down there every Sunday come up and give me a smooch, you know, and stuff like that there, you know.
I love wearing a terrible bra. You have to be a little off the wall to wear something like this and have fun with people, and I do have fun with people. And one thing I started doing was every time somebody wants a picture with me, I go, yeah, sure. I get in the middle and I count 1, 2, 3, and I grab their butts. And that's kind of a thing I did for my friend Barb Cord. Used to grab people's butts all the time. She's passed now. So I thought that would be fun tradition to start. And I haven't had anybody get upset with me yet. Guys, girls, doesn't matter.
Most super fans are what you would call people. They love people, they love to make people smile, they like to entertain, and you get us all together and it's one big clown show. You know, I think, I can only speak for myself, but I think a lot of us were deep down inside, we're broken clowns. And we derive our joy and our sense of worth in helping other people who might not be feeling so well, putting a smile on somebody's face by doing something as simple as dancing or posing or getting a picture. It's pretty priceless for a broken clown like me. And then we help other people escape their demons. You know, it's like I said, the chicken did that to me. Watching Steeler Jesus and Pope Yunzer on TV, they did that for me. You know, they took me to a place that maybe I couldn't get there by myself. And to be able to do that for anyone, man, that's a gift. And I try to use the gifts he gave me for others. So, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Welcome. Come on in, guys. Make yourself at home.
This was a piece my friend made me. You probably aren't interested in all this shit, but
She wanted to go to McDonald's, so her and I went down to McDonald's, and she was pushed her down in her wheelchair, you know, and went in there and bought her breakfast, talked, and she went her way, I went my way.
Ones that influenced me as a youngster was the Barrel Man out of Denver. I'd watch him naked under a barrel in a blizzard, and you know, you can't help but respect that.
This right here, official grass from Heinz Field.
You know the story of the Immaculate Reception Ball, where it's at now? This is a long story here. We'll get into this one here.
Immaculate sauce, baby.
The underpass people. And they got a great vibe.
Don't try this at home, whatever you do. I suppose not. No phones and driving, but Jesus can do it sometime. People get upset sometimes, but hey, whatever. Let's go Steelers! ¡Vamos, aceleros! Let's go Steelers! ¡Vamos, aceleros!